is what they call it. And so this is what we're inside of right now. This is the Male Hogan. This is the one that most people are not very familiar with, but it is the first dwelling that our people constructed under the direction of the holy people. In the traditional teaching of our Dene, we are told how the teaching of the construction of the dwellings of our people came about after they had lived in rock structures for a while. And the holy people, it is said, told the Dene, move out of those houses that you make out of rock and mud, because when the earth moves, which is to say when there's earthquakes, that those structures would cave in and harm them or even kill them. So they were told, watch the animals, the creatures, the birds, the insect, and the other animals in that, in your environment, and see how they construct their dwellings. And so it was that the Dene took the advice of the holy people and constructed their dwellings. And the dwellings among our people is called Hogan, which is to say, which is to interpret the word, is to saying the extension of Mother Earth. And the Hogan, the first one that was built by the Dene was the Male Hogan. Is what they call it. And so this is what we're inside of right now. This is the Male Hogan. This is the one that most people are not very familiar with, but it is the first dwelling that our people constructed under the direction of the holy people, and also by observing the types of structures around them throughout their history. And this one here, this Male Hogan, is actually constructed like a pyramid. It has the first corner is to the direction east, the second corner is to the south, the third corner is to the west, and the fourth corner is to the north. And in each of those directions we have specific poles in that we use. The long poles are used for the, there's two of them that form the entryway. And those two are there, put in place. And then the other from the south and from the north are also put into connection with the those poles at the top. And then the one at the back, which is to the direction west, is kind of curved. And as it is curved, it is the one that is that forms that corner to the west. And then the other poles in that are placed between the various sections are placed in a circle. And in the circle is the way that the poles are set. And it looks like a cone from the outside, but really the main poles are set as a pyramid with four corners. And so the construction of the Male Hogan is very unique. And this is the type of structure I was born in. My great-grandmother enjoyed the male structure as a dwelling far more than she appreciated the female. And so the way that the structure of the Male Hogan is done is that the entryway is built to kind of extend away from the structure, and it has two poles that are outside of the away from the resident, and then those poles hold up other poles in that form over the entryway. Traditionally, the entryway was not very wide, and it was just barely enough to get into the structure, and also you had to bend down to come into the structure. And the smoke hole was constructed between the two poles that formed the entryway that extend all the way to the top. And portions of logs are put one on top of the other, extending all the way to the top. And so the opening up at the top, the very tip of the structure, was only about maybe something the size of a basketball rim or smaller. And that's where the smoke would escape. But the fire in that particular structure was always an open fire right in the center of the Hogan on the floor. There was no stove or anything else, but just maybe a circle of rocks, and then the fire was made. And it was not a very large fire. If you have a fire that is kept pretty much continuously burning, pretty soon it heats all of the poles. And so that during the winter months, this is a very comfortable home. Hogan. It is warm, and it is something that has all of the convenience that you would need to be outside of the weather. Right now we are having snow outside, and it's winter weather. But inside, if we had a fire, it would be very comfortable. And I helped construct many different hogans, the male hogan and the female hogan. And there are certain ways to construct them. And I've just kind of given you information in a nutshell as to how the hogans are constructed, the very first hogan. In some future videos, we may explain how the female hogan is constructed. But this one here is very important because each pole, traditionally, is a part of a ceremony. There are 12 poles that begin from the pole next to the entryway, going from the east, going to the south pole. There are 12 poles. And from the pole that is to the south to the pole that is to the west, there are also 12 poles. And it continues on from the west to the north pole. It has 12 poles. From the pole to the north to the entryway pole, there are also 12 poles. And these are part of ceremonies. So when a medicine man was conducting a ceremony, each pole would represent some prayer or some song in the ceremony. If he chose to take a break at some point, he could just put a marker right by one of the poles of what song that he had completed, and then he would put it to the next one, so that would be the one that he would begin as he came back in to continue conducting the ceremony. So every pole is really representative of some prayer or some song in the male hogan, if it is built in the traditional way. And those are the things that we are told.
Hey, thanks for watching our videos. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss one of our uploads. Also, head over to our website, NavajoTraditionalTeachings.com. Sign up for our email list. Okay.